If you're a realtor, specifically a new realtor, there's so much in this business that we have to talk about, we have to figure out, we have to explain to clients, which can sometimes be really challenging. The problem I think that we have is that real estate school teaches us a bunch of stuff, but when you actually get into the industry, most of the questions that you have from clients are not applicable at all to what you've just learned and gone through, and it can be super challenging because once you get a client and they start asking you questions about what's going on in the market, what's happening here, what's going on with this house, why is this price depreciated but this price is appreciated, and it can sometimes be a real challenge because you don't want to look like a fool, but you also do not want to give them false information. So today we're going to talk through a system that I use and I teach a lot of people to use of really how to break down things and explain them well, and it's called the Feynman technique. Let's jump in. What's up guys, Lewi here. The Feynman technique is a method of learning that really lets you focus on a deep understanding of what the topic is. Now, it goes through 4 key steps. The first one is choosing a concept that you want to learn about. The second is explaining it to a 12-year-old or a kid. The third one is reflect, refine, and simplify it. And then the last one is organize and review it. Now, we're not going to go through all that stuff today, but that's what this technique is. What we're going to do is a ChatGPT hack that you can use so you can understand something really quickly, which will allow you to understand it and then teach it to your clients. So let's jump in to ChatGPT. All right, guys, we're in ChatGPT, and there are things that clients just ask us all the time, and there's 2 things that I always think about. One is being understanding what this really means and what it means for the people involved, the clients, the sellers, the buyers, whatever it is, but also having something that you can keep on file that you can either copy and paste or make a video about it that you can send to clients whenever they ask you. I did this a couple of years ago with a video about appraisal gaps. Everyone was asking about appraisal gaps, and instead of having to explain it every single time, I just made a YouTube video about it, and then I went ahead and sent them to all my clients. Anytime they asked me about appraisal gaps, I would send them it. I'd be like, hey, I'm in a meeting right now, but here, boom, watch that. And because it's me, I have the know, like, trust factor with my clients already. They watch it, they get the answers. I don't need to make another phone call and spend half an hour explaining what that is. So let's jump into ChatGPT and see how you can use this moving forward. So for the sake of this video, guys, we're just going to use appraisal gaps as the thing that we're going to talk about. It could be anything inside of real estate, inside your business, but that's what we're going to use. So here's a prompt that you want to use. Explain. Then you're going to put whatever that is. So I'm going to put appraisal. I can't spell. Gaps in the simplest terms possible, as if teaching it to a complete beginner. Identify gaps in my understanding and suggest resources to fill them. Now, again, I got this prompt from Alan Brogan, who is awesome. I follow him and he has so many cool stuff. So this is what we're going to say. So let's see what ChatGPT has for us. All right, ChatGPT has done its thing. Let's see what it's got for us. Appraisal gaps, in the simplest terms, refer to the difference between the appraised value of a property and the price of which is being sold or bought. When you want to buy or sell a house, an appraiser comes in to estimate the value of the property based on factors like location, size, and condition. Sometimes the appraised value can be higher or lower than the price the buyer and seller have agreed upon. This difference is called the appraisal gap. Cool. Okay, here are some possible gaps in your understanding. Role of the appraiser. That's really cool. So it's telling us what exactly an appraiser does, and it gives us a resource, the appraisal process, a guide for homeowners. You can look this up. 2, impact of appraisal gaps. You might not be aware of how appraisal gaps can affect the buying or selling process. Resource, how appraisal gaps can impact home sales by mortgage reports. Last one, ways to address appraisal gaps. You might not know how to deal with appraisal gaps when they occur. This could be the big one. There are several ways to address them, such as renegotiating the price, having the buyer make up the difference, or challenging the appraisal. So This is probably the big one that you would want to be talking to clients about, the other stuff is definitely relevant, but this is typically what clients are going to ask you for. And it's awesome that ChatGPT has brought this up. So what I'm going to do from here is take this, boom, right here, and I'm going to go back into ChatGPT and I'm going to say expand on the key points of this article. I'm going to paste that there. And let's see what we get. Okay, so it's broken down this article into bullet points, and I want you to see why this is so powerful. So if I was going to use this, I would copy and paste this into like a note inside of Evernote and have it there ready to roll. And I would change the language on it. So I probably wouldn't give them this, but typically they're going to ask like, what happens if the appraisal changes? And that's really from point number 3 down to point number 8. So I would put this in a note and, I would just like pull this up. If a client called me, I'd be like, hey, listen, Mr. and Mrs. Buyer, here's the different things that we can do. The first thing, if the appraisal comes in lower, we can renegotiate the price. If it's an appraisal gap, both parties, you and the sellers, can discuss renegotiating the sale price. Okay, does that make sense? Okay, the next thing we can do is increase the down payment, bum, bum, bum. Okay, the next thing that could happen is that the seller could give us concessions for this property. The next thing we could do is challenge the appraisal, because if you think, and I think the appraisal is inaccurate, we can challenge it. And the next thing we could do is order a second appraisal. Now that's going to come at another cost to you, but we can order a second appraisal. And the last one we can do, guys, is walk away from the deal. In some cases, this is the best thing to do if we can't resolve it. Now, you can see how professional I've sounded there, that I know what I'm talking about. And this is the thing, like if you are just trying to do it by the, fly by the seat of your pants, it's very, very difficult to do. But if I actually have this right here in a note, and if someone calls me and says, hey, Lewi, like, can you call me and my wife and explain what this means? I'll look it up in my notes, I'll call them a speakerphone, and I'll just read these things out. Or if they're like, hey, can you like send us some information? I'll put this, I'll reword it so it has their like information in it, and I'll send them that in an email. It looks awesome. So now, again, you're not just going by the seat of your pants, you're not just making things up, you have it dialed in because you understand it now. And that's why this prompt is so powerful in ChatGPT. I love doing this. You could do it for anything. Loan conditions, depending where you are in the country, you could do it for certain parts of your contracts. Like if you're in the mountains here in Colorado, you could do it for water rights. You could do it for, wells and different systems in there. You could do it for whatever it looks like, multifamily stuff. So there's a bunch of things that you can use in here to explain things properly and gain a knowledge of them as well. Maybe if you've just moved to a different area where you're operating in real estate, you can pull up different things that might not be, applicable to the place you just came from. So ChatGPT for this, again, it scours the internet and gets the information that's relevant for you and relevant to the thing that you're looking for. And again, what I love about this, there's no ads. There's no one pushing their website on you. There's no other agendas. It just looks for the information. So this is a great way that I love to learn. I love to get these bullet points and put them into notes so I have them, so that if someone asks me a question on something, I'll pull it up, I'll read it off, or I'll just learn it and be able to speak about it anytime. And then from there, you can be a better real estate agent because you've gained the knowledge to be able to answer a question in a professional manner where you know what you're talking about. All right, guys, if you like this stuff, subscribe to the channel. You can subscribe to the newsletter below. Let me know if you have any comments, questions about this kind of thing. I'll do some more ChatGPT things that I use in the future, and I'll see you on the next one.